Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Basscast Radio. I'm your host, Brian Carter. In the house, Bass Geek down here below me for all you guys watching on YouTube. I hope you're subscribing, by the way. Fishing the DMV, Mr. Thomas Aarons. And we got a special guest, a friend of the pod, Mr. Robert Welch. Welcome to the show tonight, my brother.
How's it going, my friends? Good to be here, man.
Happening? Thank you for coming on, by the way. We've been trying to make this happen for a couple weeks now, so we really appreciate that. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the state of the industry tonight. We guys, so we don't hark on bad news. Rob's going to give us some good news.
Yep.
But we do have a big box store that just closed right here in our area, Rock Outdoors. There's closing their Winston-Salem store. Guys, as far as I know, the Smith Mountain Lake store is staying open. I wonder if the Winston-Salem store might have had a problem with Bass Pro Shop being not too far away and some other stores. I really don't know, but I mean, it's kind of hard is to compete with Goliath. But they've got an amazing store at Smith Mountain Lake. They sell lots of freaking boats, pontoons, decent tackle store. Decent, that's about it, and a bunch of other outdoor products. And they did build a repair center because to get your boat fixed and repaired, because we really don't have too much up on Smith Mountain Lake. We got SML Electronics, which all my guys go to. Make sure you go support them. And then we got Dwayne at Indian Point, and we got the Tackle Shack. So that's what you got up on Smith Mountain Lake right now. So as always, I tell you, buy local, support local. You guys know I'm that 110%. But if you can't find it, discount tackle. The comment section below, you can check that out. And but hey, I want to be honest with you. I mean, sometimes the tackle stores just can't get it. But I'm 100% buy local, please, because we've preached it before. You never know. You got a big bass tour coming. It's 3 days of it. You done went through all your Senkos. You're catching bass and cashing checks, and you need another bag, and you don't have that store. What I'm saying? I'm on a run here. I'm cashing $100 to $1,000 checks at the big bass tour on Smith Mountain Lake. Support local. Keep them open. Keep the doors, Keith and Dwayne, open. Make sure you guys check them out. But enough of that spill right there for today. We'll start down there in the bottom below me. Bass Geek, what's happening in your world, brother?
Man, just like I always say, banging and slanging, pushing out that content, those videos, things are picking up. So, YouTube may have finally taken the reins off, taken the shackles off after the hack. We're putting out some good stuff, got a good video. It's blowing up right now. Got a little fishing video. Hey, we're catching dinks, but we're still learning. A lot of good content in there. Sometimes if I'm not fishing, tournaments and stuff, which I don't do very often this year, it's just about going out there and having fun fishing the way you want to. And that's kind of what we did. But other than that, man, we're doing well. Things are going well. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers this month for May. Finish out strong. We've had a few videos hit, 25,000. We've had some good stuff, man. So it's, I think we're finally past the hack.
Good, because there's an AI show that I've started watching, and she actually got hacked last week.
Oh man, yeah, it's listen, I'm an IT guy. I mean, that's my damn job. So, they got me. They got me. So
if they can get Geek, they can get anyone. Please, if you're gonna really start a YouTube channel, and I know Geek should probably do this. And I was watching something the other day. You should really learn the back end of YouTube. And know what's going on the back end of YouTube, and know your analytics, and know what your people like on top of that. But I would monthly changing the passwords, updating stuff, set you a reminder in your phone
Well,
See,
I'll be honest with you.
verification, whatever they got now, 2 point, 3 point, 12 point.
Well, and see, again, I've got all that, but here's the thing: is it's anybody that are fans of vampire movies, you'll know that, or vampire comics, you'll know that they can't enter your house without the head of a household inviting them. Well,
Yes.
the problem is, I invited them. So I got an email and it looked very legit. It was for a possible sponsorship. And,
That's a great reference for our outdoor genre of men from 30 to 50 that have listened to Vampire
I'm a
Diaries.
geek. I'm a geek, okay? I'm a geek. I'm 51, so, come on.
Hashtag Team Edwards.
No.
That is too-
Vampires can't come out in the light, and they sure as hell don't sparkle. That ain't vampires. That's chick porn. Okay, that's all that is.
Hey, I'm gonna be. I will tell you guys this really honestly and truthfully. If you are building any type of social media, Facebook or whatever, and check your followers. Like Geek's talking about right there. Check your followers. If you see a bunch of people subscribe, kind of scroll. I mean, if you're doing a fishing website like us, or anything, or we're all fishing for the most part here. If it's not fishing related, delete them. I mean, what's one person that could hack and destroy your whole entire account? Get rid of them. I mean, I got a bunch of brand new followers on Instagram. Follow the Basscast, and 3 of the bunch were I got 2 followers, and I sell Bitcoin and crypto and all this other shit.
Yeah.
Delete them people as fast as they hit your page and block them. It's just yes, you're building a business, you're building a community, and I don't want to see what happened to Geek happen to you. So pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes. Like I said, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is that you're building. So Thomas, what's up, my brother?
What up, everybody? Not much going on, just pumping out the content like crazy. I am sitting on 12 episodes I have not actually uploaded, so I'm not going to record anymore for at least a week, just so I can get everything out. I had the biology report for the Shenandoah River with my good friend Jason Hallaker for the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources. That dropped today. As you guys know, I grew up on the Shenandoah River, near to dear to my heart. That was part of the biggest fish kill really on the East Coast the past, 30 years. And we talked about how the river is coming back. And Virginia is now the 4th state to have actually successfully done a smallmouth hatchery plan, and it works. And so they're restocking the Shenandoah. They've been doing that for the main stem, South Fork, North Fork. So if you live in the Virginia area or West Virginia, you come down, check that episode out. We talk about everything going on the Shenandoah, and it's really looking good from where it was.
That's awesome. Yeah, we fished the Shenandoah, I think, a couple of years ago for our kayak series. We fished the bottom end of it, but yeah, that's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. They really take a big effort in trying to bring that place back. Because again, you can catch anything. It was so bad because it was a DuPont spill, and they won millions of dollars.
I swear to God, I swear I knew it.
Yeah,
I was going to ask what chemical company killed the fish. I swear to God,
it was DuPont.
I was like, it's DuPont.
Catching a fish over 12 inches was impossible for a long time, especially the main stem. It was that bad of a kill with everything dead in the river. And so going from that to where you can catch 17 pounds of smallmouth in 20 years it's insane. But it shows you things are possible when you make enough noise in the media and everything. I remember the headline because the riverkeeper there basically got it in the Washington Times. And the governor of Virginia at the time called up the department and said, what do we have to do to fix this? And that's
so cool.
Yeah. And the rest was history.
That's awesome. All right, guys. So like I said, as we always say, head on over, follow Fishing the DMV and follow Bass Geek. We need to get Bass Geek to 100K this year. Let's make it happen, everybody. Hit the follow, hit the notification bell, hit the follow bell. What are we up to, Geek?
87.6 right now.
Mm-hmm. So. And he has a special live stream with his employer if we can hit that faster.
Yes, we want to see that. We want to at 100K, guys. It's going to be a special event, and me and Thomas are actually going to show up for that special event. We might have to.
Oh
host
God,
it
yes.
somewhere. But we're going to show up for that special event, do some live, not so live. Well, we'll do live, and we're gonna have a damn good party because that's going to be freaking awesome and freedom on top of that. And that's what we're all really working for. So you guys make sure you hit the notification and hit the follow button as well. All right, guys, tonight Cage and Rob in the house. Thank you. Like I said earlier, we've been trying to make this happen for quite a while, so thank you for coming on. As you guys don't know. If you don't know, Pitman Creek is who Cajun Rob works for. On top of, I'm not sure, he does a podcast show on top of that, and probably a bunch of other stuff. Because in the fishing world, we all have to be versatile to make some money. But Cajun, talk to us a little bit about Pitman Creek, how long you've been with them, and a little bit about yourself before we dive into this, and then we're going to talking about the industry of bass fishing.
Absolutely. Well, I've just been just over a year Pitman Creek, and it was kind of a God thing. It was I was working in Lexington, working heavy equipment, and kept cutting my hours. I was getting laid off, so I see an ad, hey, Pitman Creek's hiring. I was like, hey. So it was like Easter, it was last Easter. And I think Monday I saw the ad, so I put my resume in. Tuesday they called me for interview. And Wednesday, my boss said, hey, if you need to take off for interview, understand. So he was cool. So Wednesday, interviewed. And then that Good Friday, I was out mowing my back field and missed a call. And there's Stanford, Kentucky. I was like, hey. And started the day after I got laid off, I started Pitman Creek. But
that's awesome, dude.
But yeah, Pitman, if people don't know, it's in central Kentucky. We're about 30, 40 miles kind of south of Lexington. We are the largest fishing distributor in the country. We cover all 50 states. We have some stores in Spain, overseas. We have a handful. So, but they've been in business since I think 80s. Originally, the guy that owned Pitman Creek had like a little tackle truck, basically, and our owner, Mr. Coffee, bought it, and it's just been growing higher. He just built a big 205,000 square foot warehouse about 3 years ago. So he had about 3 or 4 little small warehouses, and he combined them into one. So we got one warehouse, offices, and everything, one complex. And man, it's been great. I've learned a lot, and worked with some great folks. I know Matt Mattingly. He's been over there for a long time. Learned a lot from him, and but man, it's been great. It is literally, I found my retirement gig, and that is it. So, but no, it's been great.
That must have been stressful going from, okay, I don't have a job, to then making the leap to do this. Like, what was that like?
It was a little nervous at first, but once I got into it, it's like, man, this is it for me. I've fished tournaments for the last 10, 15 years. I've loved fishing since I was like 8 years old. So, told my wife, I said, I've been studying for this job for like 40, 50 years now. So, but it is, man. And everybody here has been great. Learned a lot. Everybody works together great. And man, it's unreal. And I think I'm up to about 230 customers. I cover, I think, 35 states. And like I was telling Brian, I actually got 4 Amish tackle shops. They have no phone, no computer. And they'll either borrow somebody's phone, call order in, or they'll like mail order in. But then I can't email them like the usual email invoices. Can't do that. So we'll put a copied invoice in the box, ship it to them, and they'll mail a check right back.
Going from 3 to 4 Amish stores makes sense, but how do you get one when they don't have Twitter? Like, what's the story there? Like, how did they get in contact with the group?
I guess word of mouth. I don't know. Good question.
Wow.
I guess carrier pigeon. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's 4 separate states. It's not like one state. It's like 4 different states. So, but good guys though. Good guys. Yeah, it is. Crazy. I never thought about it. I'm like you guys. I never thought about it. But I'm like, I thought somebody's kidding. Oh, you got an Amish taco store. I was like, oh, these guys are kidding.
So another question: are the Amish allowed to use DC reels? I mean, it's technically.
What a hell of a question.
They keep it pretty simple. I mean, a lot of their stuff, of course, crappie, bluegill stuff. Yeah, they do a little bit of bass stuff, so they eat a little bit of everything. But
that is so awesome.
And they know their stuff. Hey, them guys know their stuff too. I give them credit.
That is so cool. So, you know, we came through COVID. We came through the boom of bass fishing during the COVID season, and a lot of people bought kayaks, a lot of people bought boats. We all saw that. I shot a reel during COVID at the local Walmart. I mean, it went like crazy where the shelves were just blown out. And now we're kind of going over this little bubble now where everybody's got tackle full. I mean, I saw that day a friend of mine, he's selling half his stuff. I mean, he's got so much that he doesn't know what to do with it all. And we kind of came through that with, kayaks. Yeah, you guys watching on YouTube, Basky's got it all. I mean, he's got it all. Got one of everything. He's like, no.
I'll sell some cheap.
We came through that, and now we've kind of come through. I'm not saying it's like a lull, but it's kind of like where people are only, and me and Cajun Rob talked about this a little while ago, that a lot of people are pretty much buying their namesake baits, or he brought up, when a Bassmaster Elite angler wins an event or NPFL angler wins an event, they'll see that big jump, because everybody wants to know. They want it on that. We're going to buy it. Hopefully we're going to go catch fish, and it's going to cash us check just like them. It's a dream. It's going to happen. But how have you seen sales the last year yourself, kind of do this little kind of curve right here?
Yeah, it was a lot slower last year, seems like, but it seemed like first this year it's really been up. I know we had 1 month. I think it was our 4th biggest month in company history. So, like I said, this last Tuesday, we had Monday off for Memorial Day. And I guess they had some good sales over the weekend because we had more orders I've ever seen on Tuesday following the Memorial Day. It was just busy. And we had our warehouse working 12, 13, 14-hour days. I mean, them guys and gals, man, they do an outstanding job. So, but it's really picked up, and I mean, it's just going up. I mean, it's really, really booming. I know most of my stores, they've already bought what they did last year already at the level.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty cool. And another thing we do is pretty cool. We have a database, and like if I have a dealer, let's say Mississippi, and he says, hey, what's the top 100 selling lures in my state? I can pull that up and send him a list. Hey, and even or just say, what's the top 50 Zoom SKUs in my state? Pull it up. We got it all, on database. So it's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
See how the technology has gotten to that point that, you can, see they can have an idea of what's selling and what they need to purchase.
I know who I'm calling when I got to plan content then, Rob.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Oh, what's the best thing this month, Rob? Tell me. I got a video I need to make.
That's
well, I tell you right now, it is fluke season in full effect. I can tell you that right now. Fluke is hot.
I got a video. It's been out just over 24 hours now, and it's up to almost 8,000 views about a soft jerk bait. So.
Oh yeah, that is hot, and seeing a little bit of frog's about to get hot. I see a little bit of frog sales.
Yeah, not after last weekend. I mean, my gosh, and the weekend before that on Smith Mountain Lake.
I have a hypothesis that when you hear the big headlines from people like, I don't know, Randy Blockett, that all that sells is the jigging minnow because that's all people fish, you're looking at the top 1%, if that is true. But when you break it down by region, break it down by bodies of water, I scratch my head because, like the Shenandoah River we talked about earlier, people are killing it on a tube and spinnerbait. No one's throwing a jig head minnow. What does your data suggest when you break it down by regions and stuff? Is it true that it's only forward-facing sonar baits?
There are certain sections like the deeper lakes, like Dale Hollow. I mean, it kind of deeper lakes, but it is kind of regional, like you said. Forward-facing across the board, like the Crush City stuff, sells good across. If I had a tackle dealer say, hey, what's one line of baits that will sell? Crush City. Now, crankbaits and hard baits have took a dive across the board, but like states like Texas and California, still pretty hot on crankbaits.
Fascinating. Because I live like an hour from the Potomac River, so chatterbaiting is still king to me. So maybe it's because of the bubble I'm in, but when people say like it's just forward-facing sonar baits, and every tournament there's guys with 3 or 4 chatterbaits on the deck, it's like something doesn't math right, but that does make sense.
Yeah,
and that's just to kind of follow up on that question. I've actually heard that we're starting to see the hard baits begin to kind of come back. There's some that the minnow bait takeover is kind of hit its peak, and we're starting to see these baits come back around, a lot of the baits that kind of had got left behind. So you're starting to see that, and especially, where I'm from, from Knoxville up, we're a big crankbait. If any, as you know, Rob, having been to the Knoxville Expo several times, crankbaits are probably one of the biggest deals there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
and crankbaits.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Are you think we're starting to see kind of that apex of and everything level out at this point, or?
Yeah, because I know some young guys. I'm pretty friend. They're solid and they're great guys. I mean, and they're saying they're having to throw minnows further and further out.
Yes.
I mean, if you got one 20, 30, 40 foot in front of a boat, they're not biting. You're having to throw 70, 80 on up. But I think it's kind of cycle. It goes in cycles. Like, what 2-3 years ago, nobody's throwing spinnerbait. Look how spinnerbait has this year. I mean, it's just.
I wore them out. I wore them out on spinnerbaits for the past 2 years, especially this time of year.
Absolutely.
And you wonder how much responsibility is to bear on social media for making the posts and making people like the Block It or any of us famous, because we will do the clickbait, like it's all dead, it's all over. And we don't give respect to like this stupid green fish, no matter how much money we throw into a boat and electronics, it can still be like, I'm just not going to eat that. I'm just not going to do that. And because the reason we don't buy the baits necessarily, it's what the fish will eat. I mean, for better or worse. And they tell us what to purchase in one sense. And it's just fascinating to me in 2025 with all the technology, that stupid little green fish can still tell us like, nah, that's not what I'm going to do anymore.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we was out Memorial Day here at Lake Cumberland, and it was like a dark, cloudy, kind of rainy. I was like, oh man, it's going to be top water. It's going to be buzzbait. Nope. Would not even look, wouldn't even get a blow up on top water. Through top water half a morning, nothing. And they wanted a jig, they wanted something drag slow and a wacky rig, and that was it. I mean, all the conditions is screaming, hey, top water. No.
Yeah.
So they got to bind their own sometimes. They're not. They don't. My old team partner used to say they don't read the same Bassmaster magazine as we do.
Well, there was a research study, and this is kind of off a little bit, but there was a research study done years back, and it was actually on fleas and how fleas were put in a container. So fleas can actually jump several feet. I don't know the exact, but they raised several generation of those fleas inside a capped, sort of container. And as the generations went on, those fleas would only jump a certain height, whether they were uncapped or out or not. And I think that's, I know we kind of go back and forth on the bass about them being, brains the size of your thumbnail, but you can condition those fish, and we hear it all the time, not to bite a certain bait, or when they see a bait. Yeah. And I think somehow, I don't know how, I'm not a fisheries biologist or scientist, but I know from ledge fishing for years, and I still do it to this day, even during the summer, when I'm fishing a certain school, I will put those bass in my live well because I know I'll catch 2 more, maybe 3 more, versus letting those fish go immediately. So they go down and tell each other one way or the other, whether it's some sort of scent, hormone, whatever, shaking like a bee in a beehive to give directions. But, it's incredibly strange that they can catch on to certain baits and certain things the way they do. So maybe we don't give them enough credit sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I used to have ex-father-in-law. He used to have a bait shop right there in Lenore City. And every year, on the ledge, like I said, deep crankbait, one year to be a pink bait. Yep. Next year you can't buy one; it'd be black. Every year it was a different color. They got conditioned to it, but every year is a different color.
Yeah.
And just to get into that, it's like when I had Jake Norman on, who runs the Texas Park and Wildlife Department for Toledo Bend and Lake Fork and places like that, and they put cameras down there and they showed what the fish really got sensitive to. And one thing that he predicted crazily was, it's the boat. Like these
Mhm.
fish
Yep.
were so used to boats just driving over them. And now when you have a 21-foot boat keep setting down on these fish, they can feel that boat setting down. They can see the shadows if it's sunny, and that's cluing them in. And I think that gets back to what Rob was saying about these fish want it farther and further away because they know that these boats that are stopping, their buddies are getting yanked when that
Yeah.
mercury shuts down, and they're just going lockjaw on it, which again is fascinating that this stupid 15-inch green thing is that intelligent. It really is.
They adapt to their environment. I mean, they're amazing.
Well, 2025 is here. You know, we're almost halfway through the year, guys. That's crazy.
It
And
is.
what have you seen this year besides sales? You know, some of the baits and some of the tackle that you see, or some of the new stuff that you see coming, you know, to tuition that we'll see later in the year or 2026.
Yeah, I mean JDM stuff's still real hot. Like the Sakamata shad, there's still a high demand for it, and it's hard to get. Of course, Zoom and some other companies has got some close
Right.
models. 20% difference. But yeah, the JDM stuff's still hot. I say forward facing is still a main factor, but there's certain pockets like Baskeek was saying. Tennessee's known for balsa crankbaits.
Yep.
Kentucky's known for hand-tied jigs. Every state's kind of got their niche, seems like. And there's a ton of jig companies in Kentucky for sure. A lot of great ones. But yeah, and like I said, like we was talking before, the Bassmaster Classic, Lee Livesey caught all those on that Morning Dawn chatterbait.
Yep.
Well, we can't get Morning Dawn chatterbaits till like September when they're produced. So, I mean, stuff like that you never can tell. But
what's
the crappie and catfish made a big jump last year.
Really?
Yep. Surprisingly.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool. What's the most interesting niche that people don't think about? Because you have the data. I'd be curious. Is there any kind of niches that pop out that people wouldn't think of?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain places on the East Coast where they're heavy trout, or like I said, Ohio River Valley, it's heavy catfish. I'm talking about shops over there is 89% catfish focused. I mean, and over there you got, and it's funny, there's a rift between you got river catfish guys and you got pay lake, and they're like the FFS crowd. They're all for it, all against it. I mean, I'm like, guys, you're fishing for the same fish, but apparently that's a big rift over there. I don't know
that.
It's pretty interesting, but yeah, it kind of goes region by region. But like I said, there's some baits like the spinner baits and chatter baits that mainstays sell coast to coast. So there are some different.
Hey, you talking about the spinner baits, chatter baits? What's the top selling? I mean, what should people be looking for?
That let's see, the baby jackhammer is really hot, and we're sold out of them, so we're waiting on another batch to come through. That's been real hot, and actually I've thrown it a little bit and had some good success with it. It's a little smaller blade, a little smaller diameter hook, but I've had some good success on it. I said spinner baits has gotten kind of back in after Jason Christie won that over was it Hartwell on that. Spinner baits has kind of come back around, and I'm a diehard spinnerbait guy from the 80s, so I had back then I had Snagless Sallies and Man's Worms. That's all we had. So but yeah, certain pockets I know, like in the back home, like in the Mississippi, the Delta, and like around Mobile Delta, that Snagless Sally, man, that's still like religion down there. I mean, there's certain pockets where lures like that just keep selling and keep producing.
Go ahead, Thomas.
No, I was just saying that's so cool to me because, again, River Rat Country, Shenandoah, Susquehanna, all these places, they talk about Mad Toms and Helgramites, and it's baits that literally only sell in like a couple of areas, and it's fascinating when you get into these like little tribes of fishermen, like these cool things. And same thing you said about like with the little jigs, and even like the float and fly. That is not something you do in the California Delta, but that technique gets cultivated over time, and it becomes such a refined, interesting thing that it's deli, and there's skill to it, and there's science to not only creating the rod, the line, but everything to make it just right. And you only get that when you get these small groups over a generation or two that just keep improving it over and over again.
Oh, absolutely. And I know Baskeek knows around Tennessee, guys like fishing jerk baits on big spinning reels and big spinning rods. That's like religion down there.
Well, you're in the clear water. You can get such a longer cast out of it. It was years before I went, and I really, for me, I'm so picky. I love to fish them on a bait caster now, but I am so picky about that rod and reel because I still want the ability to be able to cast it just like you cast it on a spinning rod. And so I pay a lot of money for those casters that will mimic that that spinning
Is
rod.
that culture? Because you look at like the guys in saltwater, they have no problem throwing a spinning rod to catch a tarpon, but a guy looks in a bass boat, looks at a spinning rod, they're like, fairy wand. I know what you're like. It's
Egg beater.
weird.
It's an egg beater.
Egg beater.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I call them. Yeah.
Well, they catch fish and they catch chicks.
Yep.
Just saying.
I was told at one time David Elliott, all he fished was a spinning reel. He didn't know bait cast.
All he throws is a wacky rig worm, man.
Yeah, that's all he does anyway.
Pretty much. Pretty close.
Poor David.
No.
Poor David. Cajun Rob, after COVID, we saw the industry boom. Then we saw industry starting to be bought up, and we saw a lot of the companies, be bought. A lot of companies being bought up. Have you heard of any new information on any other companies being purchased, bought, and some being phased out altogether?
Yeah, I know. What was it? Gene LaRue. They've got Yum's kind of made their baits now.
Yeah, Pradco absorbed them a few years back, and now I think they're actually going to just do away with the Gene LaRue name. I think it's just going to become part of Yum. Yum's
like the summer bait says Yum, and it's it's some of the wobble heads and stuff. Some of the baits, it's actually Yum branded bags, but it's a little cheaper though. They say it's a little cheaper than, I think it's like a 6. I think in Gene LaRue had an 8-pack, and now it's like a 6-pack, and it's like $2 or $3 cheaper. So
I just got a keg.
Yeah, so do I.
Dang.
So,
go ahead.
So what have you heard about? Are you going down to ICAST this year? Somebody shared something with me saying that it might be ICAST last year. That they're. I don't know that that's really true.
No, I mean, I've heard the same rumors, and I know there's a major manufacturer me and Brian was talking about before the show that's not going. But I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, and one thing I know it bugs you guys, it bugs me to death. Like, you'll have a company come out, we got this brand new bait and it's great. Well, you can't get it for 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you release a bait and it's not ready? That blows my mind. I mean,
I'm kind of having that issue. I'm kind of having that issue out of one of the companies I work with, and I'm waiting for it. I've got this video. It is an incredible bait, JDM bait, incredible bait. But I'm just sitting here on a bunch of them. I've been using them, but I'm not releasing that video until somebody's got them. I can send them.
There you go.
I told Cajuns, like back in the 80s, when you would go see a movie during the summer or you go see a Christmas movie and it's the following Christmas before it came out on VHS or something, you could buy it.
Oh God. Yeah. Those were the days.
Remember, you had to wait, and you waited and waited, like, man, I can't wait to get this movie. And now it's like it comes out the theaters, and maybe 2 months later at the most it's on DVD.
Yeah.
So
I would like to discuss that a little bit more about ending ICAST, because that was a hot take that I found on Instagram, which I thought would be interesting for a discussion, because a hot take is great, but let's go down the paths. Keeping ICAST makes total sense. We know the reasons why, but what is the logical reason, if you could get in the mind of a big corporation, why killing it or not going would make viable sense? Why would getting rid of ICAST be a good business decision?
Well, I think me and Brian was talking about it, that we know a major manufacturer is going to have their own version of ICAST. They have a big new showroom and everything, and they're going to have kind of a mini one. So I think some of the dealers, some of the stuff, I think they'll have their kind of own version of it. But I still think it's going to be around. It's just too much interest, and everybody's wanting to know who's the award winners and all that. And
because I guess it would be like when they would have it, because if Brian is this big bait company and Geek is the big sponsor for him, and then it's like, okay, I need you to come to my thing, but it's the same weekend as, let's say, ICAST, or let's say the week after. Now Geek has to make a decision about what to do, because what if his sponsors also go to ICAST still?
Yeah.
Which I guess if it's just one company, it doesn't matter. It's if the domino effect is other companies start thinking like, oh, what if we just do the same thing? That's where I think there could potentially be an issue 10, 15 years down the road.
You know, I brought up you know, English Choice, which is one of our title sponsors, been for a while. But I mean, they used to go to the Bassarama in Richmond back in the day, and you know, drag all the boats down there. And let's say you drug one of each back in the 90s or 2000s, then you got to pay the person to drive them. Then you got to pay the people to sit there and sell them. On top of the booth, you know, 5,000 square feet of booth rental to put all these boats. I mean, you know, English Choice has a beautiful, if you guys have not been to Martinsville, I mean, it's the only thing in Martinsville, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, they got a great tackle store. They got everything you need on top of the boats. Why not have it there? And I mean, like, you know, me and Rob are talking about it. I mean, you could pay, and they did it last year. They brought in a lot of great professional anglers. So you can meet and greet, and it's right there. And, you know, you keep them there. You're not having them somewhere else. But, you know, to get back about, Rob was talking about the ICAST. I'm sorry, but everybody that's won an award's pretty much sucked afterwards. You kind of wonder about that, you know. I mean, and some of them are going out of business afterwards. And I mean, you know, we've seen that too. So, I mean, you kind of wonder about that part of it. And like you said, Rob, it would be really, really freaking cool if we had, ICAST is in July. It's the week after our plant shut down. So it's like the 12th, 15th, something like that. It's the middle of July pretty much. I mean, it'd be great if we could see the baits before, you know, September, October, but not have to wait till Bassmaster Classic in March. Because that's what they do. They drop the ICAST, they get the orders. And I mean, I understand what they have to do because it all comes from China. I mean, not all, but part of it. And they get their orders. They know how much they got to produce. And then in March, they all drop it at the Classic and beg you to come and, you know, hope it's a great Classic and everybody shows up. And it's kind of like mail order. We ordered it by mail. We prepaid for it. And we're going to pick it up at the Classic. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Go ahead.
For me, I think, you know, the core of ICAST, and I think there's definitely some changes probably should be made to ICAST, and the voting's probably one of them because you know, I don't want to get into that too much and get myself sidetracked chasing rabbits. But you know, realistically, and I know Rob's been there for this. I've been there with companies who just bring a whole bunch of people with that company, have them go vote so they can win. That's kind of how it works. And but the thing of it is, you know, with ICAST, the one thing, and Rob being in the industry, you know, tell me what you think about this, is it's really a manufacturer distributor meet. And it's really not about, and I think, I think ICAST has lost sight of that a little bit, maybe over the past few years. And maybe most people that go to ICAST, or like me, people that are looking for that bait to come out, it's really not there to release baits for ICAST. It's there to do exactly what you said. And guys like Rob are going to go down there. They're going to go in. They're going to talk to Spro. Spro's going to show them their new baits, and they're going to go in, because it's not like going to a normal. And this was the first year that I went. I was really surprised that like almost every company has a little partitioned office. And so the distributors from all over the place actually go in and write out, I guess, I don't know if it's actual hard deals or promises or whatever it is that they try to get, so that they know how to manufacture through the year. So I get it. And I think, you know, for the big companies, like, I mean, we can go ahead and talk about it. I believe, who is it? Pure that's doing their own thing. They've just opened their own. And I think it's just Pure. Like they're not bringing other companies into that unless you all know different. From my understanding, it's just Pure. And I think the problem with that is, and I think the reason why the demise of ICAST is short-sighted, is that there are way more mom and pop small businesses that go there that get easy access to Rob and Pitman Creek to be, which is where they're going to make their most money. They're not going to make a lot of money selling to individual tackle shops who do come down. And that's where some of the smaller independent tackle shops come down and actually find these baits they think will work in their area. If you do away with that, or sure, the big companies can do that.
You kill the industry.
And you're not only going to kill the industry, but every tackle supplier can't send people to 30 individual shows or even 6. They're not, Pitman Creek is not going to send them to Pure, to whoever it is that owns Lose and Strike King. I can't remember. To
Rather Outdoors.
To Pradco show, to the, it's just not going to happen. There's going to have to be a central. Some of the things I think, as far as that goes, why are we having it in July in Florida, in Orlando of all places?
Yeah,
I mean,
I wish they would.
Come on,
because it's closer than Vegas. Allegedly, that's probably why.
Which is,
it went to Vegas one time. It went to Vegas one time.
To me, it's got to have it in the park. I mean, look, I get bass fishing's big in Florida, but come on now.
Yeah, somewhere like Nashville, it's like centrally located, it'd be perfect. I don't know why you have in Nashville, or at least once in 4 years.
Yeah.
So when we say ICAST being do away with, this is not 3 people twirling mustaches in a back room that's doing it. It's more of like I think it's a domino effect. Because let's be honest, what are our thoughts on it? Corporations make decisions that sometimes, spoiler, aren't smart. And I guess my thought with this is, if a Pure Fishing, if a couple of big dogs do pull out because they're like, we think this is the right idea to do, because Pure Fishing is the first one to break the glass, can ICAST work without the big dogs going there to buy booth spaces? Are there enough small businesses that can actually take up the slack?
Yeah.
If that's the case, ICAST will live on. It will.
It's huge. It would live on to me in some sort of way. It may not be the big giant show in Florida, which again, I've repeated, is the dumbest dang time of year to have that show. But I mean, look, I don't know how many square feet that show is, but I would say 90% of it are single or double booths by smaller.
It's a whole lot of single booths. And what you guys are talking about is definitely 100% true. But then we kind of turn it back a little bit and we say, okay, we saw all these brands get ate up. And then as they got eaten up and the industry shrinks, based on what Thomas was saying a little while ago, will it be enough of these little companies left that can drop $4,000 or $5,000 for this ICAST week? Because you figure the booth, the hotel, the people there, sales,
and then marketing, promotion. Because again, you need to own pros that are going to fly down there to do it. And if Pure Fishing in a crazy world puts it the same week, and I'm a mom and pop, and I say, "Hey, Geek, I need you to come down here," and then Pure Fishing is like, "No, you're going to come with us." Now he's in a bind. Well, he will pick probably his bigger backer. So in a nutshell, that will kill it over time if you don't get the big name anglers to go down there, because the mom and pops can't afford both. And again, I don't know. I think it's a hold and wait approach. You do need these shows. I think there is something there to just the splendor of it all. It's important. But if the virus of unknown origins year taught us anything, it's that when things change, it's going to change rapidly, and it'll be interesting to see with the future of technology and AI how everything's going to evolve in the industry.
Absolutely. I know a local shop in Lexington. He goes down there just to see the new baits and like stuff he can't get from distributors like us. A lot of JDM is hard to get. Yeah. So he'll go to these and like direct buy from some JDM outlet and have stuff nobody else has. So he has like an exclusive on it.
But it has shrunk. My sponsors from last year, Journey Outdoors, kayak sponsor, they've been going for the last couple of years, and they were talking about last year how it had kind of made that the first shrinkage had really started beginning. Yeah. Where there weren't as many booths at ICAST as there had been in the past. And, some of the now you guys don't hate the kayaks, okay? Please calm down. Some of the kayak dealerships have stopped going, and they had pulled out altogether as well. I mean, I don't think it wasn't like one or two there that they told me, but the rest of them had all pulled out and were going to ICAST.
I can kind of see that though, because like Camus, Ranger, it's really not a boat show. I mean, it's and those guys have their dealers. Like, they really run, even most kayaks run through their dealerships.
Yes.
So for them, they've already kind of got their dealers set up. I don't see how. I can see how kayak accessories would be good, but like there's a lot of boat accessories, but I don't think I don't think as a kayak dealer or as a kayak manufacturer, I don't think that shows for you. I don't think it's for Camus. I don't think it's for, any sort of boat, really. It's really not that. I'm really surprised that Mercury and Yamaha and all those guys show up, to be honest with you. I mean,
but they have more money than God. They can do whatever they want. I mean, that's cartoonish, like what they have backing wise. I don't know. I just know from like the Raleigh show, the Richmond show, looking at how there was a lot less booths this year, but there were big companies that bought up massive. John Cruz bought off half the area to put his boat and everything. He's like, okay, well, how many booths is that? Just kind of calculating a little bit of numbers in my head. And so it's like, cool, if he's gone, do they have enough booths to fill it? Because I don't know. And again, that's regional. It's a microcosm, but it would be interesting. And then also it's like, yeah, I think there is something to that Skype, that virtual thing. And I can see why corporations think that's the answer. But when you are trying to sell a product, you got to be able to feel it, touch it, taste it, smell it, all that stuff. Like it is very convenient to do any online stuff when it's something that you're accustomed to buying. It's the same chatterbait you've bought 10,000 times. But if you want to sell something brand new to somebody, you can't get over that in-person experience.
And I don't have the stats here. On top of that, being a man, on top of that, women will buy off the internet in 2 seconds flat. They see something pretty, shiny, glamour, whatever. I'm just saying. But men, it is hard as, unless they have touched it, felt it, smelled it, the whole 9 yards, they will not purchase Harley whatsoever. Now, if it's, Cajun's got on a, really cool t-shirt there for something like national championship and it's her favorite baseball team, that thing will be in the mail if they won a World Series or some crap like that. That they'll do in seconds. But tackle and bait, you have got to get out there and hustle. I had the Hook Pal with me this past weekend. We rented a pontoon up on Smith Mountain Lake, did a little riding around, and I had the Hook Pal on there with me because I love throwing that with the Senkos. Help save your Senkos, by the way. But Hook Pal's out of business. They got sued and went out of business. But dude, they pimp from place to place to place. And I mean, they had a van, drove to every daggone tackle store out there and sold to all the tackle stores. And it's the same way with your product because there's so many jig people out there. We're in the 90s of tackle with baseball cards. I mean, it really is. We are in the 90s, and I don't want to see anybody go out of business, and I'm not preaching that whatsoever, but we really do need to see a downsize. I mean, it's so.
What do you mean by downsize?
There's so much out there.
Yeah.
And its problem is some of them aren't that great.
Yeah, but that's capitalism, baby. Like throw your product out there.
I don't think you're going to see, as long as fishing stays at, let's say, this popularity. I don't think you're going to see, because this industry, unlike a lot of other industries, we've touched on this in the past, is you can just start your own company in your basement because Pure doesn't carry the same color that they used to carry because it didn't, and people are going to want that in very much, just like Rob said, in certain regions, those little cliques in those areas, I keep a soft plastic guy who is great, who I was just sitting there thinking, I need this certain color. I'm going to call him up. He doesn't know, Ramsey. I'm sorry. I know I just got some stuff. If you're listening, I apologize.
Call me.
Yeah,
you know,
but give me a holler.
Well, we are
But-
seeing we are seeing where a lot of these tackle companies out there, and I cannot remember the name of the tackle. They were in the booth across from you in Raleigh, Thomas, and they were actually going back and remaking older baits,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going back.
Oh, Tiger crankbaits, I think.
Yeah.
No, it
'Cause
wasn't Tiger.
well, the trout
it
pond
wasn't
was the other
Tiger.
thing.
It was
Headhunter? Was it Headhunter?
Might
no,
have
it
been
wasn't
Headhunter.
Headhunter at all. It was
Okay.
what's the name? They had a blue, like everything was in blue. That's all I remember. It was
Thank
like
you
their
for
blue.
narrowing it down.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
know,
can't.
that's all. But what I'm saying is they saw that the market had become flooded,
Yeah.
and so they went back and started making older colors and
Yeah.
using older designs, and because everybody saw Hank Parker's spinnerbait take off when he brought that back, and
I know people would still pay a ton for them old ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's just something to tack on to what Brian was said about, I guess, thought of like the industry needs to shrink a little bit when it comes to the amount of baits out there. I'm worried about when you have Sackmore that owns, which is a private equity firm that owns Pure Fishing. What if they go out there and let's just say randomly they cut Rob a check for Cajun, and it's like, great, he owns an island now in the Bahamas, but if you have two companies owning everything, that's way worse than having 10,000 mom and pops, because it, again, when everyone talks about there's too many tours and whatever, let's do your perfect world. Everything's owned by one individual. 50% of the staff gets cut immediately overnight. Everything gets axed. The tours get cut down to one. All the people that have jobs get cut down to bare minimum needed. It would destroy the industry. It really would. Yeah. So we just need to be really careful, because that's the looming dark Sith Lord that we don't talk about, is these private equity firms that just gobble up all of our baits that we love so much. And I don't know, that I'm really nervous about.
And realistically, there's not a lot of room for that in the fishing industry. And every time one gets gobbled up, I mean, really, who do we got? Let's see, who owns Rapala? What's their parent?
Okay, so
no Mark.
Yeah, so
and Sackmore Partners owns Arbo Garcia, Berkeley, Fenwick, Hardy, Penn, Fluger, Shakespeare, Spiderwire, Ugly Stick, Purer. Yeah.
So 20
and then you've got Pradco.
Yeah.
You've got Pradco that owns Booyah and Hedden and Yum, and so there's really 4 or 5. But every time one of those companies get bought up, there's 3 more small guys that jump right in to fill that spot. And I mean, we can even talk about Z-Man. They're not one of those companies, but who really thought of Z-Man before they bought the chatterbait as anything more than kind of a gimmick with some stretchy worms? I mean, truthfully, that's kind of how they were seen through the industry.
You're not wrong. Do these mom and pops that we say in air quotations have the budget to have a Jordan Lee or a Jacob Wheeler, though? I don't know, because
but you'd be surprised. I mean, hey, let's take Big Daddy Baits, a company that I work for, that I'm going out tomorrow to film a video for. Wes Strader is on his staff. So
it's timing.
It doesn't take a lot to be a big player, I think, in the industry.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think timing's got a lot to do with it too. And getting these, we've brought this up a lot too, getting these anglers high school, and it's really like a scouting report for Major League Baseball, and you kind of watch it and get in at the right time. And if you can build up that, one-on-one with that angler, put out a great product the angler's going to love. And then when he makes it to it, baby steps on paying him money, and you're making money, and then the whole thing goes together. But when he's already won a Super Bowl, it's kind of hard to go get him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's one of them deals where you're going to have to get this angler, out of college, and he's, already had a great college career.
It's
you
fun,
hope you
though.
pick the next. It's like,
Right.
Okay, I've got 100 guys here, and I'm going to bet on this one to win the Classic.
Roll the dice.
I want to go down this rabbit hole. Brian, you just went there. Because if you want the sport to grow, then the pitfalls that you see in football, baseball, and those other sports, this is the learning pains that you're going to see, where, okay, You can't afford a Tommy Biffle. I don't know why I picked him, but let's just go with Tommy Biffle. So you are going to go down to Clemson. You are going to go down to Virginia Tech, and you're going to pick that stick, and you're going to try to sign him to a 5-10 a rookie contract, and like that's where you're going. Yeah. And then you have all the ethical issues with that as well. So it's interesting because you see all these mature sports that have been around for 200 years. Like if fishing is handled forward-facing sonar controversy the way they have, my God, when they get into some of the other controversy that all these other sports are dealing with now, it'll be insane.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of little mom and pops, they get lucky and have like a local stick.
Yeah.
And they just blow up and they just have to be with them. Like RoboWorm, you know, look how many stars of RoboWorm, they just kind of springboarded off them. So
never really heard about RoboWorm until you heard Aaron Martin throwing that Aaron Magic and that Morning Dawn.
Absolutely.
Nico.
And another thing, you're talking about the big companies buying up the little companies. One thing I see a lot, first thing that happens is the colors and the SKUs shrink. So you have a favorite color and it's gone.
And then somebody gets mad about it, and guess what they do? They go out and start their own company.
They do. Every time.
Every time.
Because a corporation is the antithesis to art. And if you want to, when you talk about colors and stuff like that, there's an art to that. And when you get so big as a pure fishing, you don't mess with colors. You will have your 6 staples and then you market the shit out of it and you're fine. And I think that's kind of the plus side is you'll have these mom and pops because they're willing to have that artistic you see these people that will paint insane glide baits. Like, good Lord, that looks like a trout. You can't do that mass marketing. You just really can't. And so I think there is a hope that mom and pops will always be around because they have that flexibility to get that dialed into a certain paint job, a certain rattle, something that's very unique. And I think the way they survive, they go for premium. Yeah, it'll cost you, but that's because there's only like 10 made a month. That's, I think, how they can survive a little longer.
So, Rob, two questions. I want to start off with this one. So we did a show a little bit about the tariffs. Now we know the tariffs it's a 90-day thing from China. You know what's kind of the don't get yourself in any trouble.
All right.
Just blink.
Well, you know, I knew a lot of the bigger companies would not come on and talk to us, reps from the bigger companies, talking about anything. You think there's still going to be some shortages? Are people still kind of worried about things?
I think there's going to be shortages. Yep, it'll be shortages. I know. I was actually traveling, visiting tackle shops when that tariff thing was kind of hot. So I had half my shops was like ordering, trying to beat the tariffs. The other half was like kind of, well, let's wait and see. I got enough stock. I'm going to play this out. And, but I had one dealer, he direct order. I'm not going to say is a hook company. He direct buy it from, and they said, we're not going to give you a new price list. Just add 55% on what you got right there.
So now, right now, that's crazy. Now, so right now, you know, we're kind of in that 90-day, you know, the tariffs kind of have settled down actually pretty nicely from, you know, when I'm talking about this, where I'm really talking about where 90% of stuff comes from, which is China when it comes to the fishing world. I mean, how's everybody feeling? Like, are they still a little nervous, you know, that we haven't heard an announcement yet that they're just going to make that permanent?
I say 80% feel pretty good because we've seen a ton of orders the last few weeks and it's really gotten busy. So I say the majority, there's still some diehards out there that's kind of isn't easy, but I say 75-80% letting it roll. Just letting it roll.
And if you guys don't, I mean, I don't know. Thomas probably know this. Really, you know, China's probably like the second largest economy in the world.
Yeah,
it's one of them. You got the whole European Union. I mean, I don't want to bore everyone with economic
you guys
talk.
Don't know. Going the other way has cost America millions of dollars. Going the other way for us to ship product that way has cost us millions. And, you know, whether you hate him, like him, love him, I'm not getting political, but I mean, he was really trying to help both ends kind of level the playing field for all of us going both way and coming this way. And sometimes you just got to play hardball and, you know, go ahead.
It's just,
and that's what he had to do, really. I mean, and now it's like you said, you know, I don't know, what are we down to? Like, what is the tariff now? 25%?
I think it's
something like that.
I think it's 10 going in and 30 coming out now, which actually is great for us. But I think, look, I want to taper anybody who thinks that suddenly manufacturing is coming back to the U.S. No. And the reason why I want to say that is because I had one person literally tell me, he was from a rod company, that the quality of blanks made in the U.S. simply do not live up to the quality of blanks made in China. And the reason why is because we know we have a skill. We have talked about skilled labor shortage. I guarantee you can go back and find it for 10 years because we know the people that were skilled labor that worked in the factories were the boomers. They're either retired or dead at this point.
Yeah.
So we have so undersold our vocational that now we don't have that because there were not jobs here to have those people go to.
Ship them all overseas.
And again, not to make this a NPR radio thing and
true. Sorry.
Yeah. Where I'm at near DC and talking to some friends in the government, the only way it's going to be coming back, and it's in your definition, is if there's World War III. That's when it will come back. But then is it going to come back to the United States or just North America? Mexico is one of our biggest trading partners. There are different places that they've
been coming back. Sorry to interrupt, Thomas, but they've been building that Mexico
relationship.
For a few years. Sorry to interrupt.
No. That's basically it. Because I think the things that are big for national security will 100% come back because you shouldn't be having your tanks built by made in China. That makes no freaking sense. That stuff will come back. But you're right. Your baits, your cars, your things like that. Unless there is some major bad thing that happens in the world, that's not going to happen the way people probably envision it. Sorry. It's just not.
And we even touched on robots. But anyway.
Well, I mean, that's the cat though. It is with AI and robots going fast.
Listen, Tesla's already selling them. If you think that's not what's going to be working in manufacturing, there's already a manufacturing company in Georgia that are rolling out like humanoid robots to do things. Look, things are going to really change. I say, give me my $1,200 a month and I'll go fishing. But anyway, out of the political, I want to circle back around my second question, or sort of to Rob. And Rob, you can tell me if I'm crazy, which I've been married for 31 years, so I pretty much have known that I am.
Good luck titling this episode, Brian.
Yeah. But there's a certain guy who's on here, and his certain company actually has a mini ICAST every year down around Douglas. Is it Knoxville or Sevierville? They have it around Sevierville.
Sevierville, yeah.
And I think even if the big, we're going to call them the big five, right? Because there's five big companies. If they all split apart and decided they're not coming to ICAST, I think just like we all love our color worms, all the other manufacturers are going to need a place to go to bring all the other distributors in. And because like I said, look, big companies make innovation, but they're very slow. The chatterbait wasn't built by Z-Man. It was bought. And we can go through 100 different baits that were the same thing, sort of. The Ned was created by Ned. I don't remember his last name. But
Katie. Anyway, Ned Katie.
But the point is, tell us a little bit about that show and what goes on there. And, would Pitman Creek be the next one to step up and say, hey, guys, let's just go ahead and make it the new ICAST, if ICAST.
Well, we do two shows for our dealers. We have a smaller spring show, which is at our warehouse in Stanford, Kentucky. So we invite our dealers in, and they get a discount just for showing up to the show. And then the various vendors we have there, rod and reel manufacturers, bait, sometimes they'll give them additional discounts. So a lot of guys will stock up. Now we have a bigger fall show, like you said, in Sevierville. It's the big show, and there's a lot more dealers there, and it's a big deal. I mean, it's 3 or 4 days. There's a bass tournament and a golf scramble, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, you can meet and greet. Manufacturers have the new stuff out, and like I said, it's pretty legit. Like I said, it's pretty legit.
Yeah.
I think that's the evolution of it too. In 2025, we're talking about AI and robots and all this other stuff taking over the world, but there's still this human connection. And
Our
I
AI overlords.
and maybe it was before we got started here. We talked about like pinballs and video games and arcades, and they're coming back with these really hip bars and stuff. Because if you make it an event that people want to do for entertainment, because people, even at the core, the human experience is sharing things together and going to an event. If ICAST or any of these things became an event to the public that they could sell, it would still be a thing. So if they're willing to evolve and adapt with the times, I think it can work, but you have to be willing to make little tweaks to make it work.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And and Pitman does a good job. They listen to the customers, like I said, and they're always kind of adapting. Like I said, we just had a new website roll out, and there's some older guys that don't like change, even though it is a better change. So, and I mean, there's some still old guys out there that don't want to use computers. They'll still call in orders, or fax in orders or whatever. But an order is an order, so we still take them.
That right.
Yeah. So, and I said it when I was talking earlier, I actually have 4 Amish tackle shops. They don't have a computer, don't have a phone, don't have a fax, but they still get it done. They still order, and they're good folks. I mean, salt earth guys, never have any problems. They're just low maintenance.
The evolution of the tackle industry, guys. That's what it is right
now. You know, Rob, this is more of a personal statement, but I know Fat Cat's been down there. I know a Fat Cat that's, like an hour and a half away, and I've never received an invite to go to the Pitman Creek thing. So you might, maybe put a good word in for me.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool. Like one night we always have a special event, like Strike King had it last year. And they had me and Brian was talking for the show. Mark Zona was there. Yeah. And he was representing Strike King, of course, and he was bringing out the new products. And there was a group of dealers that had to sign up to be in there, and they fed them dinner, nice dinner, and put these new products in their hand. I mean, it was great. And he stayed. I've heard some other stars, I'm not gonna mention any names, that left early, but he stayed like all night, met everybody, took pictures.
That's awesome.
So I mean, he was pretty impressive. I mean, that guy is just full of energy. I don't know how he does it, but he was real impressive. But yeah, it's and like I said, I think they've done that show for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
But
it's a long running show.
Yeah, it
Someone
is.
actually told me I need to attend it because it's pretty freaking awesome. So
I'm just saying, Rob, if you know somebody, I mean,
yeah, all right. I know a guy.
There you go. All right, Rob, guys, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up tonight. But Rob, we really appreciate you coming on and talking with us, and it's a great show. It really was. Holy cow, good to learn a little bit.
Man, great topics, man. And for any dealers that's out there and want to sign up with Pitman Creek, want to be partners with us, go to our website, pitmancreek.com. That's 1 T in Pitman. And there's a little tab on the top that says become a dealer, and it has all the forms and information you want to know. So, or just call us direct, either way. So we'd love to work with you.
There you guys go. All right, man. Any closing words before we roll out tonight?
I'm hungry.
Hey, I just remember not long ago you had a car through your space right there, man.
Here.
It looks great, man. You did great.
There's a window. Well, they didn't get to none of that. What you can't see is this window that's actually back because there was a giant hole where a Ford F-150. So I'm glad I was not sitting at this desk because it was moved about 3 foot back and glass all against the wall. Yeah, it would have hurt. It would have hurt. I was on the couch, but it would have really hurt.
Oh, definitely, man. That's some scary stuff. And
yeah, it was.
And, just one quick thing too. I do a podcast. My buddy John, Co-Angler's Corner. We do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, and Monday night we have ladies in angling. That's been real successful. A lot of LBAA ladies, and it's been great. And man, there's some ladies I can't hang with them fishing. I'll go ahead and admit it. There's great ladies. And Tuesday we do co-anglers, and Wednesday we call it Wide Open Wednesday. We just have anybody we want, we just have wide open. So
I've listened to it, so I'll vouch for him.
No, good deal, man. Appreciate it.
Thomas, anything for you, brother?
Just Thanks to everyone that listened. Last week, we were ranked 60th in the nation, the most listened to podcast in the nation last week. So, Joe Rogan, I'm coming for you. But yeah, just keep on listening. Next week, I'll have an update on the Spring Bass Bash brought to you by Brian. Or I'm sorry, the Bass Cast. That'd be weird. Like the trophy just has Brian's face on it. But no, the
Nobody
Bass
knows my
Cast.
name.
So yeah.
I've heard rumors you might be moving to Tennessee, Thomas. Is that
There
true?
is also a rumor there. I may or may not still be married, but yeah, I'll be moving. So.
He may be living out of his truck or van by down the river, but
I'll be in one of those doors behind Hank. So.
wow.
Oh shoot!
All right, guys. We'll wrap this up. Appreciate you guys all listening. We'll be back next week with another great episode. Again, become a member of our Patreon, Basscast Radio, Patreon.com/Basscast Radio. And don't forget, discount tackle. Support your local tackle stores as always. And if you can't find it, head on over. You'll see a link in the comment section below on YouTube and on our Spreaker. That's where this podcast is being hosted, the audio version. And you can click the link and support the basscast.com there as well. So have a great week, everyone. By this time, our stop number 3 of the Basscast Tournament Series will be in the books. And our spring half, because we just do a whole year. We don't do halves and all that crazy crap. But spring half will be done, and we get a few months off, really, because I don't think we fire back up again until September, late September, early October. But there's a lot of great bass fishing going on. Major league fishing in June will be north on the Potomac, the James River. So go support them, and the basscast.com will be covering a lot of these events. So appreciate you guys. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you guys on the flip.
Peace out.